Hi, it's Colleen Schmidt once again from Divination Counseling Service, here to present to you today Poseidon, the trans-Neptunian. So, just briefly, trans-Neptunians, we already know, are those Uranian planets. They are sometimes referred to as the hypothetical planets, but as I stated in other videos, we've used them for 100 years. So we have a little bit of work behind us on these spaces, if you will, or mathematical configurations. So just let's talk about Poseidon. So Poseidon, he's actually in mythology, it's the god of the seas. Okay. So, also another name here, Neptune. So I'm just going to throw that out there because as we get into the glyph, I think one of the things we're going to make an association to immediately is the connection to Neptune. Okay. First of all, Neptune is ruled by or rules Pisces, the sign of Pisces. So Pisces is the glyph where you have the two like half circles. Okay. Now, it's slightly different because in the glyph for Poseidon is actually thrown on its side, but I like to look at it differently. So let's look at a different explanation. Oh, because I can. Here, I look at it like the trident of Neptune with a semicircle on the bottom, another trident, if you will, two tridents. And I look at them that way because Poseidon as an energy is incredibly spiritual. There's it can be. I shouldn't say that because not, Poseidon's also associated with the media, and let's be honest, the media is not always honest. And things that happen in the media, even if they try really hard, human, whatever. But there is an element of striving for something more with that energy of Poseidon. Okay. So you want to think about a higher level, a higher education, a higher level of spirituality. So Poseidon is information, it's knowledge. Sometimes it's spiritual, but again, here we go with the religion versus spirituality concept, and there's a whole debate about that. And I don't really want to get into that kind of thing in these videos, but there is a huge difference between religion and spirituality. And I'm not saying that you're either one or the other, because obviously they're not exclusive. But I believe that a person can be extremely spiritual and not be religious. And often I think that that can sometimes depend on the development and the aspects of their own Poseidon. Okay. Neptune, Pisces. Think about everything that that means. Now you're in the key word realm. So keyword, I already hit some of them. Media, propaganda. I did want to throw that in because I think especially today, we have such examples of media propaganda going on all the time, everywhere, to the point where I'm sure that it's one of those things that over the next 5 to 10 years is going to have to change simply because it's out of control. But the idea of being gaslighted or propaganda through the media, that's also under Poseidon. So Poseidon is not all good or all bad. Here we go again. We can't denote that with these. We just can't. They're just energy, and it's what we make of them. Okay, metaphysics comes under here. It's associated with education, higher spirituality. Great inspirations can happen here. People can be very inspired by ideals through Poseidon. Poseidon is also, it's persuasion, okay, of a different kind. Because here we go with that propaganda, but there can be an element of persuasion involved in this energy. Mirrors and windows, the idea of clarity, transparency. Those are words of not just the media, but those are words that are associated with Poseidon. So this is Poseidon. and looking and seeing where Poseidon falls in someone's chart. How does it fall? Is it well aspected? Is it not well aspected? These things would become, important in determining or understanding how that individual reads things like propaganda or is susceptible to ideals that might be media induced. Just, you know, again, a lot can be sought out and learned through these trans-Neptunian energies. So Poseidon moves about 0.29 of a degree a year. So 29 minutes of a year. So about a half of a degree. It takes 720 years to complete the cycle. That's how long it takes to cycle around the sun. So till it get through 12 signs, 720 years. Okay. So like all trans-Neptunians, it's generational. It moves slowly. Right now, I think Poseidon is somewhere around 13 to 14 degrees of Scorpio, which means it's moving into the Aries point, which is why I just made the comment that I made about certain things will come to our attention in the next couple of years because Poseidon's going to be moving into the Aries. Oh, no, I lied. That's not true. It will not be. Yes, it is. It's moving into the Aries point. I'm losing it. Because Scorpio is a fixed sign and 15 degrees of fixed is considered a part of the Aries point. Okay, so I was correct. So we have a little bit of a ways to go, not long, a couple years yet, because of how slow it moves. So we talked about a person can be affected by their ideology, but it's also, I want to point this out because we just looked at volcanoes. We talked about virility, we talked about strength and coercion and all those things. Well, Poseidon is really different. And there's a whole thing going on here because, the empathy, the compassion, the ideals, the ideology, religion, again, comes under here. So you're looking at this Poseidon energy even coming into play, and you're going to see things, okay? So like when it comes into aspect to Saturn, okay, which it will from time to time through any of these, it will indicate things like conservatism. I think it's actually already done that, where, that's the people that are really conservative who, I hate to say it, but I always look at them as the least flexible of our population. But they're also susceptible to propaganda in a different way. So here we go again. I don't want to put anybody down. I don't want to talk about anything in a bad way. But understand that, Saturn and Jupiter could lead somebody, Saturn could make them conservative. Jupiter with Poseidon could make them more prone to religion. So again, think about your planet, put the energy of Poseidon, what it means with that planet, develop a conversation. And I think that you're going to get a lot out of it. I think it makes for a very great study. It'll send you back to your charts once again. I promise you that. Anyway, with that said, if you're interested in any private work, readings, tarot, or astrology, please contact me through divinationcounselingservice.org. The same is true if you have any questions. I love to hear from you, and I will get back to you within 24 hours if you have any comments or questions regarding any of this work, whether it be astrology or tarot. Most importantly, like, share, talk about, tell other people, educate your friends, and get our information out there. I think that's the biggest favor I could ask of you. Until next time, I'm wishing you all happy readings.